Hello everyone, Master Xeon1001 here, doing a quick public demonstration of HardOps version 006. If I press Ctrl-Alt-U and bring up the user preferences, we can see that, there's been a little bit more added to it. As you can see, the author list also steadily grows. There's also been a key map area added thanks to Wazou, who's added quite a few significant items to HardOps that has made my workflow a lot easier. So just to begin, Q is usually the menu that I work within. I just like this little menu. However, if you go into T panel, there's also a HardOps menu like one of these. I don't usually have my T panel up. However, it is pretty cool, and I can't stop looking at it because, well, these are all my icons. I was pretty adamant about getting icons in this thing when I started seeing other add-ons have them. So, for starters, there's the insert menu. Now, I've added some stuff to it. Like just yesterday, I modeled a tire, some couplers. I was like, I have a bunch of bolts, but I don't have, stems for them to screw on. So those have been added as well. So when I look at this thing, I'm quite impressed with the quality that it's taken. So for starters, the menu now is smart, meaning that options will show up according to its relevance. For example, I can C-sharpen this object. I'll go ahead and give it a couple of divisions, and then we'll add a cube, and I'll go up, move it back, and we'll just cut this in with Control minus, and I can press Q again, and you see that I have an option for rebull, which will show up only because there's a pending Boolean operation. If I select that, it'll give me the invert of that selection as well, which can come in quite handy for quickly cutting things. Now, speaking of quickly cutting things, we'll just take this cube on a quick little adventure. This is something I usually do every day, warming up to get using the tool. I feel I'm the most efficient beta tester of it. However, that is actually Ivan's job. But I've been quite pleased with the response that this plugin has received publicly. I was quite nervous to have it promoted on Blender Artists and make heavy mention of it because it's something that not everybody gets. So here you see I use Iec Split, which will bypass Boolean it, rebulling it, and basically get you the cut immediately. This is something that came up with by AR, and it was a modification of rebull. It was something I was also quite against at first. However, I came around and saw the light. So to show you it again, I'll just take a cube, place it here, and we could put an edge in here, bevel it to spread them out, and we'll select these edges and Control B to bevel, select both of these, C-split, and now you can see this mesh has been cut off. It also needs a little bit of C-sharpen. I can see some roughness due to the fact this object wasn't smoothed or S-sharpened beforehand. But as you can see, these tools have gotten a lot easier. And in fact, the ones that I haven't got to yet are probably the most exciting ones. However, I want to set up a nice little form here just to get started. Use the B width to adjust the viewport. I'm not sure if the users of this have noticed, but there's been a major fix in the form of C-sharpen. C-sharpen used to reset bevels all the time. It drove me insane. Couldn't take it anymore. Now C-sharpen will maintain your same bevel size no matter what if you have one manually set. This is something that I was quite ecstatic for whenever it was done. So we'll take this shape, select this, C-split, and just quickly cut in, bypassing the need to press Control minus and all of that. It's really, I wanted to call it like Ninja Cut or Speed Cut or something, but C-split just works. Made by the same man who brought you the brilliant C-stepping workflow, which I might show a little bit of today. However, C-stepping is highly destructive and also kind of really limits the amount of tools that you're able to use. So it's kind of a finishing touches kind of thing. So I'll cut this out. Maybe I want the rebull of that. So rebull is a little bit more calculated compared to cslice. However, they both are fantastic tools. As I've got to play with them more, my speed has improved, and I feel I've become a even better hard surface modeler. You know, the stuff that I make in a day and I just throw away. You know, sometimes people point back at it and they're like, "Why did you throw this away?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was just a warm up, you know." So I'm just gonna put a cylinder here and you know, take these two sides, Control B, bevel them, take this, just drag it down to elongate it, and you know, we're gonna just play with some insert parts. I don't know what I was saying there. Insert parts. You know, we'll C sharpen. We'll take this one, cut it in, and we will maybe not cut that much of it. Maybe mirror it over, and there we go. So something like that will suffice. So we'll C sharpen to apply it. So, you know, from the basic idea of creating something that detected sharp edges and marked them for beveling, it's kind of opened up a whole new way of modeling in my eyes. You know, I understand it's something that not everybody will get, you know, find useful in their workflow, but for idealization, it has become essential now. Whenever it comes to doing these sort of cuts, you know, there's always a little bit of cleanup required. Like, we see a gang of verts here, you know, too drunk to make it home. We'll Alt-M last, you know, and just send them there. We'll mirror that over. As you know, in my W menu, I have symmetrize mapped to Shift-Alt-X, so I just press it and it'll automatically symmetrize on the X, which is a behavior I take advantage of all the time. Sometimes I want a mirror modifier, sometimes I don't, but with all the crazy bowling that goes on, sometimes the mirror is a little risky. You know, sometimes you might have a higher chance of it not working out. But really, it's up to you. Like, these tools are, you know, designed to be flexible while also behaviorally specific, if that makes sense. Like, I was really uptight about changing up any of the tools' behaviors without it, you know, being calculated and well thought out, because these are it's my toolkit. Like, this is the toolkit I plan to use, you know, going forward. And so, you know, everything that has been implemented has been to try to make some particular workflow a little bit more efficient, or at least you know, reduce the amount of keys pressed for certain operations. So, you know, even if I render this without a sun, you can see just the crispiness in the surfaces. You know, we will put a sun in here, and you can see that, you know, it's definitely off to a you know, pretty good start. In fact, another thing that I like to use hard ops for is I'll scale down a plane, SY, SX, and we'll Shift D, duplicate it down, Shift R to repeat that. And we'll just go here, SZ, scale it like some blinds, move it over on the X, and we'll just add a little bit of T-thick, and take this, mirror it across, and then we'll just use C-split. And if we're lucky, we get something workable. You know, the bevel width is a little out of control on this one as well. You know, lowering the bevel width will sometimes get these surfaces to look a little bit better. However, there's always a minimal amount of cleanup required, or maximum amount depending on how clean you want your surfaces. But to be honest, you know, I do go through a lot of cleanup. Like I always say, the art of cleanup is easy with enough practice. You know, I spend so much time pressing Control X to dissolve things, which is, you know, my go-to key, and I'll symmetrize and bevel to split things out. You know, I'll also take the knife, press C and Z to cut all the way through while constraining it to be a straight line. And this sort of stuff will allow me to have an edge flow where there basically was none. So, you know, the same old classic tools are still here. However, I do plan on, you know, taking a more focused look at them whenever the development isn't so rapid. You know, we'll go here, change this to a circle, extrude, scale it in. You know, we can S sharpen. We can still go and X symmetrize, but now it works on this side. So I'll use the Q menus, F6, the Shift Q menu, and just choose reverse to be off. So now it'll mirror left-handed like I always use it. Somehow that got changed. Maybe someone changed it because they're right-handed. I'll get that fixed eventually. So here I can choose any insert, and it'll basically put an insert on the normal of the faces selected. So this is actually really cool. In fact, what I'll do is select one, and we'll just go with just a flathead screw. And all the geometry has been modified on the inserts to basically allow it to be S-sharpened really easily without much work. So you can just real quickly throw that in. So I'm just going to Control G, put this in a group, call it screw. And cool thing is that you can now apply materials from the menu. Like I have a bunch of materials in the backgrounds of my scenes that I always bring in and apply on objects. So I'll just slap this with some chrome. And even with just the addition of 2 screws, it just changes things. So let's continue just playing around. So I'll just use the knife, C, Z, and just cut an edge flow where there was none. Is what I always call it. Like when you're dealing with a lot of flats, it's really easy. But it's something I definitely recommend everybody play with. Personally, I think this add-on has accomplished its job as far as for the user base that's using it and actually enjoying it. That it's supposed to make modeling a little bit easier, but also take care of some of those hard surface edges that can become a bit of a nuisance later on with manual management. So I'll go here as well, circle, S. Now the circle also has an F6 menu that will make it able to set the amount of subdivisions. However, something like this, it isn't needed. So what I'll do is duplicate this screw, reset the rotation, and this is one of my favorite features as well, and I'll shift select this, and we're just going to choose the faces on the left side where we want to put the screw. Now it's important to reset the rotation because it uses a neutral rotation to put it on the origin. This is the whole insert OBJs was added by Wazou and Pity Mystique. So we'll choose OBJ to selection, and now they've been added. Also, they're part of the same group. And literally it's that easy to add screws on your models. In fact, we can go to the back here and just play around just a little bit. So I'll go on the Q menu and we'll go with the insert for this thing. We'll just rotate it on the Y. Now we're working from the left hand side, so I'll go to that side. And we will S sharpen it to just calculate those sharps real quick. And we'll just pull it back and maybe make some modifications to it. Now, like I said, some of the stuff is made to just be S sharpened. It's not built with a completely optimal geo, especially on some of the latter elements that I added, mainly because you're S sharpening now, not C sharpening now. You can still C sharpen now, but it is kind of a lot in my eyes. So I'm also using snapping pies. I'll be mentioning this in an upcoming tutorial about essential add-ons everyone should probably get. But here I'm just snapping the cursor just selected, and under insert I'll just locate my little tire, and we'll just put a tire here. So I put the tire in here because for one, I thought it'd be pretty funny, and for two, who wouldn't want to insert a tire, So hopefully to everyone who picked it up, it's definitely been worth your money, and laughs and fun has been had, or you've made hard surface forms at an easier rate than you could have previously. If either one of those have been met, then I hit my goal. So even with these little tires added, it definitely adds a lot to the model. And this is just how I warm up. I'll just take a cube on a quick adventure and turn it into a little rover or some sort of board cube. So right here, instead of using the bull tool, I'm just going to press 9 to go to my opposite view. I'll press K, C, Z to cut a line here, and I'll Control B to bevel force that. And we'll take this and slide it in and S sharpen, which will do nothing, which means basically we have to select these and mark sharp manually in the Q edit mode menu. So there's still more parts that I want to add here. In fact, I'm thinking about making a second menu and having it full of subtractive parts, kind of like the ones that you're seeing me just model here, just to help with imagination. You know, not trying to give you a full toolkit, but you know, some starter parts to be able to transform into something unique without, you know, everybody having the same motif. So we'll just S sharpen this, and we'll bring our exclamation point here, and we'll mirror that across, and Control minus, C sharpen to apply it. We'll go down here, Control minus, and this is really the difference between C sharpen and S sharpen, is that S sharpen is mainly an edge calculator, and C sharpen is more of an applier / calculator. So they each have their respective use, but you know, for more information on that, I've written a very long guide that kind of explains that idea. You know what other shape is pretty cool to cut into this sort of stuff is we'll take a plane and we'll scale it sideways. We'll go in local mode, and I'll just K, E, K, E. E basically ends your cut. So something like that will suffice. We'll move it down to cover up my inadequacies there. And we'll double tap I, go into face mode, Control I, delete these faces and extrude out. Choose edge mode, and press Control B or B to select it all. We'll Control B to bevel this and round it slightly, and we will S sharpen. And now this is ready for prime time. So now we can take this thing, RX, GX, move it over, GZ, Alt Shift X to mirror it over if you're using mirror, and we'll just cut it in there and then rebolt. Now rebolt used to be 3 clicks, but now rebolt is 1 click. Pretty proud of that. However, rebolt sometimes comes under attack. Now right here we see that this basically caused poor guidance for the beveling, causing us a fault. So just with a simple slide that'll get moved, but really anytime that the bevels start getting wonky, I'll go into edit mode and just do a slight bit of cleanup. I was hoping that this model would have came out a little bit more troublesome, so I could just show y'all the art of cleaning up, because it's something that, you know, really shouldn't be that big of a deal, especially with the way that dissolve is Control X, and you can just knife around like Zorro, be a savior of the night. So continuing on this thing, I'll put another cube here, and this time I'm going to show you a tool called T-Thick. So I got this cube cutting in here. I'll select this and choose T-Thick, and now we can basically choose an adjustable border for the cut in that we're doing. I'll apply to scale because it's using solidify, but this is mainly the basic idea behind the T-thickening, and then when you see thick or C sharp, it'll apply all of that. But this tool can come in pretty handy. You know, we'll move it here, we'll mirror it over and select this and the other one and C split just to cut it out. So here, because I C split instead of you know, just cutting it in and C sharpening, I ended up with the cut being applied but also the trim. So I'll lower the trim slightly. You know, actually that's a little trim. I'm going to just remove the bevel from it, because what are we going to do with that trim? And here we see that there's some troublesome edges, so I'll just go through and dissolve it. But like I said, with this sort of thing, practice makes perfect, but you'll really see the improvement in your surfaces. I'll S sharpen just to, didn't want to do that. And you can see the difference in the you know, the surface is a lot better. So it definitely comes in handy for a lot of small things. So I'll select these two, and my scaling is set to individual origins, so I'll just scale them slightly, just shrink them a little bit, and already when we look at this thing, we can see all sorts of you know, complexity just you know, popping on this thing. I'll separate these with P. I'll go in and delete the faces, and we'll just give it a clean start by just dissolving what was once there and putting something new. So under the modeling tools, there still is a mesh grade. Like I said, there's all the mesh tools I want to come back and revisit and do some things to make them work even better, you know, as I'm improving with Python, and, you know, gaining the assistance of other people. You know, the amount of people that have helped me make this plugin a success is quite a few, but, you know, I'm definitely grateful for everyone's assistance. You know, I still receive mail even now where someone will say, hey, I fixed the mirroring tool for you, you know, stuff like that, and I'll review the code and add it in if I'm not, you know, terribly busy. But it's definitely overwhelming to receive that amount of support, because, you know, the more people that use it, the more feedback and things I can hear to make it better, which is pretty much how the smart menu came about. Was that people were just rebooling objects that had no booleans on them. So you know, instead of removing the option or hiding it, we realized it's better to make it a conditional menu, so that way it actually has an important reason for popping up, and also to reduce people clicking it that didn't need to click it at that point in time. You know, every time you run into a brick wall with you know, a plugin, it's a defeat of sorts. You know, and I definitely don't want people to come to it and you know, fail to you know, see the enjoyment of it, because it's not intended to be complicated. Just the you know, the basic idea of creating a sharpener was you know, complicated-ish. So, you know, just with that, we already have something coming together here, and, you know, we could go here on the side and, you know, set some things up, like you know, I think I'll cut a straight line here and subdivide it, and let's see if I'll get lucky. We'll just transform these two into a circle. It won't let us do that midpoint because there's inadequate amounts of geometry, but we'll X symmetrize. We will S sharpen, which will make that active, and we will put some new screws here. And, you know, I was actually about to duplicate the old ones and put them there, but instead we'll go under material list, or not material list, insert, and after insert we'll just go with these. And under operations, we'll just S sharpen, mirror it over, and mirror it over. And also, they probably need to be part of the same group as the rest of the stuff. I try to keep all the bolts grouped, just in case I need to hide them or select them quickly. So I'll just add them to the group screw. And this thing is already coming together. Now, there's a lot of nifty little tricks you can use, you know, the tools that I've shown you for. For example, I'll snap my cursor here. We'll put a cylinder, and I'll rotate it sideways, scale it down, and we will S sharpen. You know, I'm going to go ahead and just convert this to wire, just so I can see through it. And we're going to cut through it, but I'm going to select the object and T-thicken it, which will give me this ring. So I'll select that and just move it down. You know, I could have done some snapping magic, but you know, I try to be quick with this stuff sometimes. So I'll just apply that, and we'll S sharpen, and now we have little cut lines going around those screw holes. So, you know, as I render it out, you know, I start to fall more and more in love with it. So at this point, instead of rendering for 20 samples, I'll choose render set 1, which will set up the render to render for 400 samples plus some stuff to make it work a little more optimal for my computer. And we'll call this live demo 006-1. There we go. And now we're about to get serious. So first thing I'll do is, you know, Alt-H, unhide all these bold tools, move those layer 2, get those the heck out of here. we'll select everything in the group of screws, and we'll hide that stuff because it's already chrome. Select everything, and with an active selection under material list, you have an option for we'll just give it a black material. Now if you want my materials, I'm not giving them out. However, I think I've accidentally given them out multiple times, so I mean, if you know where to look, you'll find it. Here you can see I went in edit mode, made a selection, and went under the material menu to make that selection, which also appended a material and applied it to that geometry. So there's a lot of little nifty things too that are a part of this as well to make the workflow of using hard ops as easy as possible. So I'll Control I to select everything that isn't what is selected, and we'll just give this a material of easy spec. And we look at this in action, we see that my invisible floor that's under every scene needs to be adjusted. So we'll move it here, and we'll unhide everything that we hidden. And now let's get a good look at this thing. So the Kevlar is one of my favorite materials. However, easy spec is probably my second favorite. It always starts out a bright vibrant red, but I tone that thing down immediately. So I'm going to select this piece and separate by selection, and we'll select this, and just link materials is another quick way to share materials. For this, what I want to do is we'll put a cube at the base, and I'll put it in wire mode. So I'll almost use this more than a bull tool now. So I'll just select this, Iec Split, that'll split it off. We'll Control select this, materials. Now you can also see that there's, alright, I thought that was a bevel issue, but it's not. It's actually cut in there. Just making sure. I'm telling you, I've become quite fierce at the art of cleaning this stuff up, because it will definitely mess up your bevels. You gotta guide them, and like the blog post I made with the knife trick, like you just got to cut where you want the guidance to be at, because if you let Blender solve for it, it might give you a solution that is less than optimal for whatever it is you're trying to do. So we'll save the scene, and I'll just let this render for a moment. So it's a little dark. I'll select the Kevlar. We'll boost that up just a tad. There we go. And so this is just a start, and what I mean by that is also in the Shift A menu you should have inserts. I should have given out a set of inserts that I just made on the fly. Like I said, I have a plugin that basically converts objects to add menus, which is pretty cool. But right now I'm working on getting it to convert them into insert menus, which would be really cool. So here we'll go with circular not shift. And all of these, and the names, the names kind of actually make sense to me. I don't do a lot of naming in my files, especially if they're just small, idea crunches. But it's a circular notch with a shift in it. How much harder can it be? So I'll S sharpen it, and we'll just duplicate this down. We'll mirror it across. Control L. It looks kind of rough. We'll C sharpen. Looks less rough. We lower the bevel width, and now it's looking pretty good. In fact, we can take. Let's actually take these. We'll take these, reset the rotation, and I'm just getting a size estimate going. Alright, so now I'll hold shift, select this, and we'll just select these four faces and choose insert OBJ to selection. So really this thing works like a dream, but as you can see, mainly it's for inserts that you specifically want to put on a selection. But if I could have a super crazy add menu, that would be great. Like where, and then I could come out with like mesh pack DLCs for like Greeble and little stuff to cut in, it'd be great. So you would look at this and say, hey, that's pretty done. Ha, you wish. It's not, you know. We can keep cutting on this thing all day until it's a medicine cabinet, which is the joy of you know, using these particular tools. Now I also want to come back and do a demo on making like a helmet, just to demonstrate that I'm not afraid of curved surfaces. You know, I just really get hung up on playing with cubes sometimes. So I'll just cut in, make my negative cuts to you know, kind of space out the surfaces, and then I'll come back with another one and just make more cuts. You know, I'll change this object to a wire just so I can see what the heck it is. You know, we might even bring it out to the front and see split, and we will link its material with this. And we see that maybe we flew a little close to the sun. If we look at this piece, it's not that one, it's this one. So, you know, because of the distance we left there, I just don't see that being fair. So we'll back up. That's probably why you would want to cut it out and then, you know, adjust it and then rebull it. So, you know, rebull and C-split both have their uses. Sometimes one is just that much quicker than the other. I'll S sharpen it, and, you know, we'll rebull with this. So that's actually looking pretty nice. And you would say, hey, we're pretty done now, right? No. Let's take some cylinders. You know, this is like a little wheelie cart, so we might as well give it some headlights. Now, you haven't seen me use the pie menus at all this video, but just know that I do love them. It's just, I also love this menu. It's so speedy. You know, but I've noticed that more of the fans have enjoyed the other options more. So Control plus to join, and we'll just C sharpen, which will you know, basically clean that up a bit. Actually good enough for us to not have to go in and you know, look at that further. So, you know, I'll mirror that across, and now we have our cylinders cut in. So I'm going to select just this face, and under insert we probably have something that will you know, suffice. So let's go with this. You know, I like this particular mesh. This one I built with care. In fact, for some reason it made the other mesh disappear. So let's try it again. Sometimes that'll happen. Like I said, there may be glitches, you know, or strangeness, but it's something that I'm working on, and there's other people working on. But also, you know, this add-on will be a work in progress until the very end, in my eyes, because there's always a way to reduce the amount of keystrokes by another noticeable number, which is, you know, kind of the basic idea. You know, if I really wanted to test this plugin out, I would be working in full screen mode with no UI whatsoever, like this, because this is how it's intended to work, is in Alt F11, Alt F10 mode. You know, we'll give this a material of where is soap bubble. Yeah, now our car's got a little personality, you know. But we're not done yet. We have so much more cutting up to do. So Shift A, go under inserts. This time we'll go with X shape. X shape is cool. It's just a little X. So we'll put that X here. Always put little X's on my models. And we will S sharpen it. And from here I'll C split it, which will give us some problems. But let's see if they're solvable. it's literally that solvable sometimes. Like I'll just come here, I'll knife to here, which will give me a backup point now. And just by linking them, it'll correct it. This one is too close to give proper guidance. So we'll also do a link here just to push that back. Right here, there's doubles, which are always bad for business. So if we look at this, we also see that there's doubles on the negative piece as well. We'll just merge those at last. And really, that's the most minimal amount of cleanup I could probably get away with for this particular piece. But what was that, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds of cleanup? It's not really so bad. And also probably is a necessary skill for all of us Blender artists to have refined, to be able to go in and just deal with trouble where it lies. So, you know, another part that would probably be cool is something like this. I know what you're thinking. That part's not very cool. Just stick with me here. It's not really the shape that's cool. It's how you use it. It's like an old saying, right? Probably not. So here I will just pull it forward. We'll mirror it across. And we'll use Iec Split, and then we'll go into wire mode and we'll push it back into the form, cutting through, and C sharpen. And we'll bring it forward, flushing it a little bit. And this time we'll just cut in, C sharpen. Maybe lower the P width. In fact, got a little unruly in my opinion. We could just bring it down, which will give it an easier solve and just make our day a little bit shorter. So we could take this and give it the same material. And there we go. So I got this idea, right, for a type of mesh kit I want to create, where basically it has it's dual twofold. It's something I haven't been able to figure out just yet, but if anyone out there's a scripting super genius who has the remedy, let me know. But the idea is to basically create a mesh kit that has a regular wire mesh, and then we'll have a second mesh that got to come out of Alt F10, so I felt that came, and we will just put a skin on it. So the idea is to basically have a mesh that's inside of another mesh that's wire that you can then snap to the surface and use to cut objects in while also leaving an object behind, like latches and buttons. So I'm just gonna go and select all of these loops and just clean it up. No use leaving all this junk here, really, if you don't have to. So a little bit of precision clicking, maybe about 30 seconds of cleanup work because I decided to use the skin. But that's actually a lot cleaner in my opinion. There we go. So the idea is to have a piece that's like this that will be parented to another object, and then when you insert it, you basically have the wire selected that you can then snap to the surface. So with something like this, let me turn off this wire, it's distracting me, and also we'll S sharpen it maybe with a 45-degree angle so it doesn't catch all these lines. Still gonna catch lines. You know, let's just clean the sharps in edit mode instead of messing up our S sharpen parameters. So we could take this, bring it to the front, and under settings, material list, Chrome, and you know, let's duplicate it, you know, because this is so much work, we might as well do it twice. And then you just cut it in, you C-sharpen it, and you know, get rid of the old object. But the idea is to create basically a wire object with a solid object inside of it. And right here you're seeing me use it with like just a triangle, but I've been playing with latches and like gates and like little doors and like fuse boxes and all sorts of stuff, and I see the potential in you know, a double insert basically. You know, you would just cut it in, S sharpen, and you know, voila, you're set. So you know, we render this out now, and you know, I would say this thing's still starting to come together, but I'm not done yet. You know, might as well make it something memorable. So I'm just gonna take a plane and we'll put it here and put a thicken on it. So you see the T-thicken basically works like you know, the B width. It's just you know, lets you play with the parameter in the viewport. So there's not really a lot to explain there. In fact, you know, I've been planning on doing demos, but the software keeps changing to the point that, you know, I did like a whole video series on RN42, and because the plugin has gotten a UI upgrade 3.0 since then, it is unable to be shown because it's outdated material. So you know, I'm definitely trying to lay down the foundations of, you know, how this thing should look and behave, so that even if the version is you know, 1.0, and when you're on 6.0 it still is relevant, but it's just you know, part of software, I guess. So another thing we could do is take this and use it more. You know, we could use it one more time, like right here, and we'll cut in, we'll C-sharpen, and we'll scale it, we'll cut in, but this time we'll T-thick. So as you see, T-thicken will just give you the border like I was explaining previously, and we'll just C-sharpen it to make that reality. And you know, every time I render, I just sit back and I'm like, you know, that is something I don't think I could have done before tools like Bull Tool were invented. You know, you grab an Autodesk guy and you're like, hey, let me see you pimp out a cube in 30 minutes, you know, and I guarantee you they will not be showing you something like this. Like, it'll still be just the basic idea of the cube, you know. And with this plugin, you know, you can take it and transform it to another dimension. Like, I can't begin to express how you know, grateful I am to the team behind it and the people that have you know, helped me with so many additions to this plugin. Because, you know, I must admit, when I first made it, I was like, I don't think people will get it. You know, I didn't want to mention it because I was like, I don't think people will get it. It's kind of complicated. You know what's complicated is the ending of this tutorial, because we're going to press Z and it's not over yet. We're going to take another cube, and you know, this time we're going to create like some little railing. This is also something I want to create as a part of that subtraction kit. You know, a long time ago I actually made a mesh subtraction kit that you can get with asset collection, which was basically just a series of subtractive meshes for use with you know, the Bull Tool. But you know, this will be like the future of that idea. You know, like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, I recycle my ideas. You know, might merge them together later on. And this is just a start. You know, I've written several other Blender artists that I admire who are you know, making phenomenal scripts that I feel, you know, would definitely be an asset to the Hard Ops collection. You know, like if I could get the guy who made mirror tools to help me create like a form curve type tool, I think that you know, this tool will be that much stronger and that much more impressive. I'm using mirror tools a lot, but you know, I think with a little bit of specific behavior modification, like they could be used for you know, hard surface even easier than they currently are. And that's you know, that's an exciting idea, because you know, there's a lot of things that we have over the Autodesk world. Like you know, I've been in the process of trying to create basically S-sharpen in Maya. Complete pain. Like you know, program isn't built with the user in mind. In my mind, you know, that's how it feels. Yeah, I'll split this with the mirror to get a nice edge flow, and we'll just take this piece and you know, we'll S-sharpen it and narrow it down just a tad, and materials, and just, we could be going on this all day, like all day. And that's the thing, like you know, I always tell my mentees, you know, warm up with this every day, because you know, you got to get those shapes out. Like you got 15 minutes a day, use it. So under mesh tools, I will, part 1, under mesh tools, I will X-symmetrize. You know, I haven't even talked about the Array Twist 360. You know, I was showing that stuff in previous videos. You know, I have other things that I still plan on doing with it, but you know, for the most part, their functions haven't really changed. Like this latest build has been a really expansionalist kind of build of adding new features and you know, refining behaviors, but you know, they'll still get some love as well. So from here, I'm just going to choose Insert, OBJ to Selection, and everything will just fit because I scaled it beforehand. So you could just put an insert there and then scale it afterwards, but you may have to use the individual selection to get it right. And so this thing, you know, it almost looks cool. You know, I think if it had like a plain light in front of it, it would look a lot cooler. Something like that. We'll subdivide. You know, I should just make plain light button, huh? You know, that's kind of how I approach it. It's like, I should press these buttons a lot. Coming soon, the make light button. So we'll put this in wire mode, and now we look at it, we have something for our chrome to reflect. You know, also, I need to go and edit the make wire button and make it where it also makes it hidden the damn shadows, because that drives me crazy every time Blender. So, you know, I think with that, we could probably wrap this up. But, you know, before that, I might want to go under color management and maybe change the look to be like Canon Optura. You know, this always looks awesome. Then I'll raise the gamma tad, you know, and now we let it render for a moment. And, you know, to top it off, let's have a little fun with it. You know, always in these videos, just ending it. You know, today let's really end it and send this cube off, you know, in the simplest way possible, of course. But first, we'll let it render for a moment and just think about this. You know, I look at this, I'm like, you know what it needs is more panels. It needs panels within the panels, and then I think it'll be set. But that's render set 1 for you. You know, you just hit render set 1 and it'll just go. Now render set 2 is based off of a setup given to me by Derek Barker that uses the branch settings. However, recently I've been turned on to them and how they can actually be optimized for speed. way much. I was about to say a bunch of words that didn't make sense together. They can be used way more efficiently than progressive path tracing is the branch path tracing. Hopefully when I update my GPU here shortly, I'll be able to render the stuff even quicker. But 400 samples might be a little overkill. So to go ahead and end this video on a proper note, what I'll do is select the tires. We'll Control A, apply to rotation, and where is rotation for the Y? We want to go to the X and set it to be frame times 0.15, and that'll put it backwards. Let's set that to negative. So now we got some rolling on our tires, and also to make it even better, we'll hide everything, or actually we'll unhide everything, move it to layer 2. Let's try that again. Didn't want to do that. Alright, Alt H, M2. So yeah, now everything's been moved to layer 2. Now since we actually started from a cube, we can actually just give everything the shape of a cube on the outside. So I'll just Control I, select the cube, Control P, Object Keep Transformation. For the cube, we'll just set it to unrenderable under the Show Wire options. So you'll never see this cube again. It's just a container box. So this is pretty much how I was playing with it when I first added the feature of add tire. Was I just put it on a curve like so. I have a curved circle here. I'm going to select the cube, select the curve, Control P, follow path, and you see the dotted line is telling me where I probably need to go with this thing. R90, and we'll just place it here. And for the curve, under the curve settings, I want to actually set it to 300 frames. Maybe set it to like 600 frames. But yeah, it almost looks like our little guy is rolling, We'll also go under viewport, set it to minimal. And this is how I usually give out my files, they'll just be in minimal view. And our cube is off, just on its own adventure. We click on set frame in. We'll set the frame in to be 600. There we go. Now it should have a little time to go. Now, since everything is also still a separate part, I also recommend getting your hands on batch tools made by I think Darren 3D and Ivan Santic, which basically will let's back that up. These grills need to be a different color. Alright. And that basically wraps this up. I'll let's see, where is viewport? Normal. We'll go back to normal view, and under floor plane we'll make it visible, and under frame 1 I'm just going to move it here and Control P, object. So now wherever it goes, it has this little floor plane, which is important. We'll move this back to 1 and move this out. That's not even a sun. This is a sun. But let's take one final look at this thing before we go. Okay, it's floating above the earth. So we'll just move that right there. Alright, there we go. So we'll take one last final look at this thing before I go. But, you know, like I said, these are just little things I do just to warm up. As you know, I just play with the plugin, see how it's going, test all the behaviors. But, you know, I definitely welcome all of y'all to give it a try. In fact, on the last cube I did the student demo. Someone actually made a model of the cube quite closely to the tutorial, which I was quite proud of, because that means that person gets it and you know, is using this add-on just like I am, which is exciting to hear, because you know, sometimes it's hard to explain. You know, as this thing progresses in versions, it becomes more difficult to explain to people, you know, what a mesh sharpener is. But when I look at this in the render and I see all those crispy little bevels of the right size decrementing on plates that are connected to each other, I know that it's doing what it's supposed to do. So I definitely thank everybody who has been involved with this tool, in addition to those who have picked up this tool, in addition to those who have bought the tool, in addition to submitting updates to the tool. You know, you are all fantastic, and I hope that this plugin has been as much fun for you as it has been for me, and I also hope to continue to make future updates to further refine your hard surface tool set. And that'll wrap it up, and happy blending. So that'll be your Blender Chainer Master Xeon over and out.